The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 4th day of July, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Wells Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. And Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Morning, good brother.
Good morning. How you doing?
You know, if anyone hasn't noticed, we don't usually do shows on U.S. holidays or Bermuda holidays. So this is a first. Doing a holiday on a U.S. holiday. So I don't know how I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a happy Independence Day to you, Jamal. I know you're as a dual citizen,
You're going to make me tell your business now. Happy Independence Day to your son and your wife.
I told him that this morning, too.
See, there you go. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, happy. No, I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if any stores open, because that's the first thing you ask when there's a holiday in Bermuda. You even see it on social media now. You're like, what stores are open today? I'm actually wondering that. Because I messed up on Easter. I was like, oh, it was, it's Easter's on a Sunday. So I'm thinking every Sunday I do my grocery shopping. I went to the store. I'm like, man, I forgot. This is one day they don't play.
Yeah, in Bermuda, that's the one I figure. That and Christmas
and Easter. They don't play both those two. Yeah, so happy Independence Day or happy birthday, America, to those of you tuned in who celebrate and or are some way affiliated with the United States of America. But greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Akil Augustine on. He'll discuss his journey in sports and broadcasting with us. He's going to be covering the Olympics for the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Company. The Daily Play is a name that place, so only fitting that it has something to do with the United States of America on this July 4th. Don't forget though, to subscribe to our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's jump right into it. We have an interesting conversation. Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Independence Day to you, Jamel. Awesome Thursday, TDH team. And morning, Larry. Good, you are back. So let's jump into today's conversation. So folks, before we get started, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let everybody know we are about to get it in. And this is how we're getting it in today. Just jump right. What are your thoughts? So I saw a tweet. Even though it's called Axe now, it's still called a tweet, right? Or did we say
Axe? Oh, I don't know.
Look, an Axe. Something. Like, what do we call it? Anyone know? Let us know. But I saw a seat, right? And someone wrote the other day on the app that the BTA is not having a visitors area at Cup Match this year, like a visitors camp. So, I'm trying my best, to kind of not just use that as a news source. So I wanted to kind of get the facts, like, is this actually true? So I did reach out to someone at the Bermuda Tourism Authority and asked, is this true? And they said, yes, in fact, it is true. So the question of the morning, now, Cup Match is our biggest 2-day holiday in Bermuda. Is it our only 2-day holiday? No, it's not, Christmas and Boxing Day, but it's our biggest 2-day holiday, right? What are your thoughts on the Bermuda Tourism Authority not having a visitors area at Cup Match this year? What are your thoughts on that? But before you even give your full thoughts on it. Answer this. Do you think there should be a visitors area at cup match? Do you believe there should be a visitors area at cup match?
Do I believe that it should be a visitors area at cup match? No, I don't think it needs to be one. It's interesting because a show previously, I want to say the show on Monday, I was watching and we talked about the nightlife and how we can bridge the gap to help with tourism. This type of event, I kind of feel is oversaturated. It's small with space. The economy is generating so much money just from the local. Why try to force it in with tourism, especially at that venue? If you was going to put on a watch party somewhere else with other events that could possibly be just purely for tourists, maybe. But I think the resources could be better spent in other areas, maybe the PGA Golf, the Grand Prix, another event, maybe.
Okay. So Larry doesn't think there should be a visitors area cup match. What are your thoughts, audience? Again, the Bermuda Tourism Authority is not planning on having a visitors area at cup match this year. What are your thoughts? Do you believe that the Bermuda Tourism Authority, do you believe that there should be a visitors area at cup match? Not necessarily from the authority. Traveling Trotty says yes. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, one of the things about cup match is that an authentic experience requires a camp experience. If you don't know anyone, you're not going to get that. Michelle White says yes. What are your thoughts, audience? Do you think there should be a visitors area at cup match? Do you think there should be a visitors area at cup match? Let me give my perspective. I do believe there should be a visitors area at cup match. I think where I differ, whether or not the Bermuda Tourism Authority should be the ones who are responsible for that.
Okay.
That's where I differ. So I believe, yes, there should be one. I don't believe it should be Bermuda Tourism Authority. I don't want to quote the minister wrong. But I believe, and share it with him. He can correct me. I'm okay coming back and correcting my statement. But I believe the minister had said when he became minister and they were talking about budgets that the Bermuda Tourism Authority, their responsibility is to market Bermuda, right? And they were focusing a lot on things on island. Well, things on island, if you think about it, and again, love Department of Culture. I appreciate Department of Culture. This is not a shot at them, but this is a taxpayer. Yes, I do pay taxes, even though I can't vote in Bermuda. Highlight that when you want to sign that petition for my voting rights. But anyway, they do a great job Bermuda Day. But what do they do as far as on cup match with the clubs? I'm not saying they don't do anything. To me, that should be their job or the hotel association's job. The responsibility of the BTA should be driving people to Bermuda. The job of culture and the hotel association should be taking care of the people while they're there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And even in collaboration with the clubs, I think the clubs could be a bit more with it also.
Correct. So again, I'm in favor, of visitors area. I'm not quite sure at this point if it should be the responsibility of the Bermuda Tourism Authority because simply those dollars that whatever they used to spend on cup match could be spent getting more people to cup match. The responsibility of entertaining the visitors while they're here for cup match, the responsibility of ensuring that the guests have a great experience should be down to maybe the hotel association, should be down to the Department of Culture, those on island. So you all may disagree. The floor is yours. What are your thoughts on the BTA not having a visitors area at this year's cup match? The Bermuda Tourism Authority, not on there not being a visitors area, but the BTA not having there's a clear difference in what we're asking. Let's go to the audience. Angeline Butler says yes, because in the past, the visitors loved it, and they had a former cup match player there explaining the game, etc. Mr. Mansfield Bojangles Smith used to do this. So, yeah, I think we're all in favor, for the most part, of a visitors area, but I think we may differ. I don't think that it should be the responsibility of the BTA. Traveling Trotty says, at the very least, a booth for questions. Yes, I've had friends down. One time I brought about 20 people down, and they had a lot of questions. And for me, you all know me. I'm going to say this. ladies, don't get offended for what I'm about to say or how I'm about to say it. But when a man is watching his sports, he don't want nobody saying, why is it a goal? Or what's a 3-pointer or this or that. We just want to watch the game. So for me, having someone there to explain the game to somebody is better than somebody annoying me in the heat while I'm trying to watch my St. George's team try to win our cup back. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think you brought up a lot of good points. I think when I answered that question, I focused on the BTA, but I could see where definitely where a visitor section is beneficial. But again, the resources that's used could be spent or better used other places, right? We just have to kind of figure out on how to. I think sometimes it's well, let's let them handle it. Let's let them handle it, and really they shouldn't be doing that. And it'd be interesting what they do. I think that the clubs or Somerset this year will probably still try to have something for visitors. I find it if visitors come without somewhere to go and do something, it just wouldn't be a good experience for them. They'll be asking and hoping and trying to fit in where they can, and most people will walk around for maybe 20 minutes and do the outside things, and maybe they want the tourists just to go to Crown and Ankle or something. I don't know. But I don't think the total cup match experience will be for them. And if I'm honest, I don't think it is for them.
It's not. It's not. Having bought people for cup match, it's not for them. It's probably get in, experience a quick bit of the locals, and get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's go back to the audience. What are your thoughts on the BTA not having a visitors area cup match this year? Suzanne Ingham says tourists need to know what's going on. It'll give them a good understanding of us. I agree, Jamel. No tourism, please. Michelle White says, I came in late, so missed the focus. There should be space, but not necessarily managed by tourism. Indeed, indeed. Renee Simmons says, yes, I think it's welcoming, and they don't have to really cater, but provide a space, maybe drinks and snacks. But yes, there should be a space. Doesn't have to be huge, just an area for information. Okay.
Yeah. Charles H. Jefferson II says HP has a camp for their guests. However, others don't do that. I think they should lead the effort of collaborating with other tourism entities, but that's not our culture for promotional efforts.
Indeed. I agree, Charles. I agree. I agree. I think we're on the same page. I think all of us, and maybe this is something, who knows? Maybe the club is already working on a visitors area. Maybe they're already doing it. But I
think that they are.
Yeah, I would definitely say they probably have a space for visitors, regardless of whether tourism is involved. But again, maybe the Department of Culture is taking this over, right? Culture and tourism do fall under the same ministry now. I remember Hamilton Princess had something. I do remember that. But I think I would hope that one doesn't have to be a guest at Hamilton Princess. I think it would be more collaborative with the Hotel Association, if that makes sense. So it's interesting. But again, keep them coming, audience. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Do you have an issue with the BTA not sponsoring a visitors area this year? Do you think that it's the responsibility? What do you think the visitors area should have? Like, should it be food, snacks? Should it maybe have a cup match legend? I think Angeline Butler mentioned legendary Mansfield Bojangles Smith. Maybe we have some cup match former players and coaches that go in there and speak to people about the game and engage them. I don't know. What does that look like? What does the visitors area experience? How can we improve the visitors area experience to ensure that, wait for it, visitors and not locals are taking advantage of it?
Excellent point. I think it just has to be better. Well, I wouldn't say better, man, but like what you suggested earlier, that turnover is a quick loading. They experience it with the family. They come in, they got an explanation. They may have a look, then they go around the outskirts, get the food. Maybe some food recommendations. Hey, go try this. If you want fish, it's over this section, something like that. If it's a little kids area, you direct them to that way, and then move on. And it's generating different people throughout the day, because I doubt that you're going to have a visitor that knows nothing about cricket watching from 10 to 6.
Yeah, I concur, Larry. I concur. I think the again, haven't experienced that, and I'm sure others who are tuned into the show have had people come down for, cup match. I don't expect any of my friends in the US to come down and sit up all day like me from first ball to the end of the day. That's just who I am. If you know me, and Sharon, essentially, you lot call me grumpy because I just want to watch the game and not be bothered. But that's just who I am. Like, I actually go to watch the cricket, right? I don't expect them to do that. So for me, I'll have one of my friends or family drop them off in the cab, maybe in the afternoon, get some fish, come by the camp for a quick one, watch bid the game, and then they're out. Go back to the hotel or house and go swimming in the pool or something like that. That makes sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. And I think when you've seen some visitors, and I had a camp for a good 10, 12 years, and I saw some visitors come down, and they're standing around. You know what I mean? If they're not in the camp or the visitor section or something, it's very different. It just doesn't seem authentic for them.
Right.
And I'm not sure if yeah, I would like to see how it goes forward. I think what you said, Jamal, we don't want it to just go away completely. I would agree.
Yeah, yeah. Keep them coming, audience. What are your thoughts on the BTA, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, not having a visitors area at Cop Match this year? What are your thoughts on the Bermuda Tourism Authority not having a visitors area at Cop Match this year? Michelle White, she says, she already said that one. Silas Lynch, says, I think if anyone has something for visitors, that it will need to be set up like a camp like the BTA had, because it helped incorporate them into a camp and make it like they are part of the culture. Indeed.
Yeah. The blueprint's there. We
Yeah.
just don't need the BTA doing it.
Correct. And I think that's where we're all in agreement. I think, the BTA, credit to them, they had the foundation, but now we need locals to run it. Well, the BTA are locals, but you get my point.
Yeah.
The people responsible for catering to the tourists once they're here, right? I would love to know if culture does do anything, if they do have a camp. Because for me, here's the thing. I'm going to share it with you. So this is not about people stealing my idea. This is about sharing ideas. This show exists so that we can brainstorm. I would love to see a Department of Culture camp where it's not even just explaining the game, but we have maybe I don't know I'm a Junior Birchall, I forget his new name, or some historians, right, who are speaking with guests about who Mary Prince is. Well, this day was formerly known as Summer's Day, Mary Prince as of 2021, and this and that, and just explain it. Then we talk about, Emancipation Day. As of 1999, we were the only country who actually had an actual holiday for it. Speak about emancipation, and you speak about the history of from emancipation to now in Bermuda. To me, let's add those components to it when we're talking and we have that area. Go ahead, Larry.
All right, from the man himself, Richard Scott says we are working on a solution. Tourism is Bermuda, more than just the BTA.
Indeed, and that is the president of Somerset Cricket Club, Richard Scott. And I think the audience had said it. Yeah, I think, thank you for that, Sir Prez, that the clubs are likely working on it. And I like what he said at the end, that second sentence, tourism is Bermuda, more than just the BTA. So, again, I don't think that we should be looking at the Bermuda Tourism Authority in this light, like, oh, they're not going to be there, so it's going to be a big mess. No. I think this is an opportunity. What that opportunity looks like, but I think this is a huge opportunity, and I'm looking for, you all know me. Cop Match is my favorite holiday.
Yeah. I think part of the issue is that I think a good bit of the community expects the BTA to be doing those sorts of things. And I just don't know if that's best for everyone. So I think them kind of saying what the rule is in doing different things is helpful rather than Bermudians saying, hey, we pay them to do this. I think that is a school of thought from a lot of Bermudians.
Mm. Here's my expectation of the BTA. If nothing else, get people into Bermuda. And if they're getting people to Bermuda, if they're getting heads in beds, if it's not many hotels, but if the few that are there are full, then I'm happy. Mm-hmm. We're happy. The other thing is ensuring that The work that you're doing and producing is creating enough opportunities for Bermudians to be able to make a living. It's that simple. I think we need to shift our cultural mindset as to our expectations. I think for years we know we need better. We want better and we need better. But I think as far as tourism and cop match are concerned, drive the people here. Once they get here, let those on island do what they need to do to ensure that the visitor has the best experience ever. Let's ensure that they have a great time. So I think we're all in agreement that Bermuda needs a guest visitor experience at Cop Match.
Yeah. And this encompasses your whole weekend, right? Like not
Correct.
just the 2 days from Thursday or Wednesday night all the way to Sunday. Whatever we have for the tourists should be tapped into.
Correct. And it's bigger than just the cricket game. It's bigger than just the two clubs. There's a lot of things to educate the tourist on that goes beyond that. They say baseball is America's pastime, right? 3 weeks ago, there was this big thing on social media. Reggie Jackson. He was speaking about his time in the Major League Baseball, and none of the other 4 commentators cut him off when he spoke about the racism he had to deal with in baseball. And people were impressed because he went off and they didn't cut him off. But speaking about the history of Cop Match from that standpoint of how it's evolved from the friendly societies to now, I think that's an important part. Richard Scott, president of Somerset, says there was a dedicated area for the visitors / tourists that was once run by BDOT, that's Bermuda Department of Tourism. This is important to not only maintain, but to develop it so that our visitors are exposed to not only the game, but the origins of the holiday. And not to get in the back and forth, Surprise, but was that not continued by the BTA? Renee Simmons says, most visitors don't understand cricket, but enjoy the atmosphere, especially the exchange. It would be great to have the cultural experience with an ambassador or a few explaining Cop Match history. Indeed. And I think that's what we're going for.
All right.
Oh, folks, it's been a good one.
Don't get in trouble from Maya.
Maya Palacio and for Daily Hour News Break. And then after that, we'll have Akil Augustine coming on, speaking about his journey into covering the Olympics for Canada. But stick with us. Do not go anywhere. Awesome conversation. Keep your comments coming. Let's see what Maya thinks. I wonder what her thoughts are on this.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling pretty good this morning.
I've got to ask, because you had some visitors in Bermuda last year. Did you take them to the BTA camp?
Yes. Anytime I have a visitor, my friend coming through doing Cop Match, yes, we go to BTA tent. And honestly, it was a blessing the last time because I came with my friend who was pregnant. So it was a nice spot for her to sit off, get some cool air before we walked around a little bit more. Yeah.
Are you saying my camp didn't offer such hospitality, Maya?
It did for my other friends that came. I had 2 sets of friends that came. The ones that weren't pregnant had a great time at your camp.
But no, so you would agree that we probably need a visitors area, but do you think the BTA needs to hold it?
I don't think it matters who does it, to be quite honest with you.
Right.
As long as there is an area for visitors, I think that, it's helpful. It's good for them. Good for us as well, not to have to, explain everything as someone to explain it to. But yeah. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. I concur. All right, what you got for us today?
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by the great people at People's Pharmacy. Starting out, both the Deputy Premier Walter Ban and the Minister Lieutenant David Birch will be completing their terms rather than causing a by-election. Now, this is coming from a statement from the Progressive Labour Party, who responded to the opposition leader, Jaren Richardson, about the Deputy Premier's recent call saying that he's going to retire. So let's hear from this. You will recall that the opposition leader said in a quote, "While we don't yet know the reason for his departure, this is a blow to David Burt and the PLP government. The Minister of Public Works, Lieutenant David Burt, has already said he won't run again. Now the Deputy Premier has announced the same. This will continue to create more anxiety about Bermuda's future," end quote. While the PLP responded saying the retirement at the next election of Deputy Premier is a decision made after years of exemplary service to our people, and it is disappointing to see the One Bermuda Alliance attempting to politicize this personal choice. This less than dignified statement contrasts the more respectful posture of the PLP members during their most recent retirements, which also required costly by-elections. Mr. Richardson should note that both gentlemen will be completing their term rather than causing by-elections, as the OBA did with the retirements of Cole Simons and Michael Dunkley.
You know what? That was petty by Jerry and Richardson. I like it because there's actually, I like it and I don't like it.
It backfired.
Let me finish. I like it, but I don't like it because you had two people retire and cost the country money, right? That Cole Simons and Michael Dunkley. So you can't be petty if you know what the lesson I learned in sales. The lesson I learned in sales is when you go to sell something, you have to answer the objections, right, that the client may have before they can ask the question. So in your presentation, you should be answering them. You tried to do something and it backfired because your people are costing money. These individuals said they're not going to leave and cause a by-election. They're waiting to the next election. Furthermore, don't we want them to leave?
Yeah.
Congratulate them for their service and move on. Simple.
Yeah, I like that he was like getting in, but it didn't quite work out.
It didn't work out at all.
Indeed. Well, also the Premier reconfirmed as well yesterday that he will not be standing for re-election as leader of the PLP in October of 2026. In a statement, he said, quote, the deputy leader and I believe political service should not be a lifetime endeavor. Walter and I both joined the PLP in our 20s and feel strongly that it is important that leaders make way for the next generation of the Progressive Labour Party. As I've previously shared, I will not stand for re-election as leader of the PLP in October 2026, which means that in 2026, the PLP will have a new leader and a new deputy leader.
I don't even like that. Leave now. Like, why cost? No, and I'm being serious. Leave now. Why cost your party seats? Like, look, I said it before. I said it again. 30 seats doesn't look like 36, because all it takes is a couple of marginals, and that 30 can turn into 22. And I don't think people understand the math. It's like the electoral college of it in the U.S. Math doesn't always make sense. You all keep believing this numbers don't lie crap. Numbers can tell different stories. And I think the Premier, if he cared anything about, well, I think he cares about the PLP, but if he cared anything about the PLP deeply, he would leave before the next election because you will cost your people don't like you, bro. They don't like you like they gave you that love in 2020. And you will cost your party. If you care about your party and you care about Bermuda, which is both questionable, leave now, bro. Leave now.
Okay.
All right. Well, in other news, Bermudians can now search and acquire their social insurance numbers without having to call into the ministry.
During my time as minister, quite a few Bermudians have questioned why they need to call the Department of Social Insurance to get their social insurance number when this service should be available online. Mr. Speaker, the government agrees, and the department under the new Director of Social Insurance was tasked with working with the digital transformation team to launch this online service. I'm pleased to share with honorable members that this service is now live and all residents can search for a social insurance number online.
And you could do that by going to the government website. But yeah, that's a new thing they're trying to implement to like do the ease in, government payments online and trying to make things easier for the community.
Dare I say welcome to the 21st century Bermuda? I mean,
you'd be surprised, Jamal.
Congratulations, about time. I don't want to be that person because it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But it's almost like Nah, just leave it alone, Jamal. Congratulations, Premier. Congratulations. Don't.
These are like the steps that are being taken just because of the red table reduction program. When that consultation, when everyone was putting in their responses as to what needs to be fixed within government, this is the things that they're working on that people have actually said already that they want to be done.
Maya's so innocent. This is being done because there's an election on the horizon.
Yet again, Jamal.
This is being done because there's an election on the horizon.
They'll check it off and say, look, we done this, we done this. Even that previous thing about what Jerry Richardson said about the retirement, they'll harp on that rather than dealing with the issues that really need to be dealt with in Bermuda.
Let's highlight, like, record, take that bit about what Larry said. They're gonna tick this off. Oh, I can't wait to that show because that's gonna be a whole press conference. We said we'll do this. Check. He did that in 2020. He literally did that. Anyway, sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead. This is one of the best news breaks ever, man. I'm loving this.
So Teo mentioned yesterday that between 4 and 6 collisions are being reported daily in Bermuda. These are alarming stats, and they actually coincide with what the Minister of National Security said in 2023 when he wrote that statement saying, quote, like, Bermuda's roads are a national crisis. And yet, we're still in this phase of it getting even worse, you could say. Well, you may recall that last year I got to speak to Dr. Taylor Kimberly. He's an MD, PhD of Massachusetts General Hospital, who has a keen interest in traumatic brain injury. Now, he went into detail about the process of what happens inside the ICU when someone has been in a serious collision, which often comes with a traumatic brain injury, or as he calls it, a TBI. So here's just a restatement of his words.
When someone does suffer a severe TBI, it can take weeks in the ICU to get them through that acute phase, to treat that brain swelling, deal with the pressure shifts, try and give the brain the best chance to recover. After going from the ICU for 1 to 2 weeks, the regular hospital for 1 to 2 weeks, then they can spend, in some cases, months in rehab. And the reason is that oftentimes, because of the traumatic brain injury, patients may not be able to yet be able to communicate, or maybe they are unable to walk, and they need to learn how to do these things to be able to go back out into the community.
And he also mentioned what some people, sometimes we even fail to talk about on the show, is, the families that get affected by this, the mothers, the fathers, whatever, who have to help now take care of this person who was in this collision for the rest of their lives. It does not just affect you. It affects everyone around you who cares about you, who loves you, and wants to, help you through life after this.
Yeah, it can take a toll on a family. I've seen it.
A deep toll, indeed. Well, meanwhile, in some Olympic news, Dame Flora Duffy has spoken about her life exploding after winning the Tokyo 2020 Olympics in the new documentary put on by the World Triathlon. So Duffy is one of 8 featured in this Dare to Dream. It's an 8-part documentary produced by World Triathlon with episodes released twice weekly. Now, in this series opener, Duffy talks about her upbringing in Bermuda and her experiences, good and bad, at the Olympics. And you can watch this full documentary on the World Triathlon's YouTube channel. This one's episode 2 here that you see Duffy standing in front of right now. And I know everyone's super excited to see Golden Girl compete in the Olympics.
Yeah, we've got a couple more medals in us this Olympics. Good on her.
We're going to make it happen. All right, in more Olympic news, Bermuda triple jumper Janai Panchief has qualified for the Olympic Games in Paris. He will join 7 other Bermuda athletes at the Games. The triathletes Dame Flora Duffy, Erica Howley, Tyler Smith, rower Dara Alazade, sailor Adriana Panadoc, and swimmer Emma and Jack Harvey. Now, Panchief, who is ranked 30th in the world, opened his outdoor campaign at the USATF Bermuda Games at the Flora Duffy Stadium in April. Now, he came second with a personal best jump of 1713 meters. This would be Janai's first Olympic appearance at 26 years old. He will also be the second Bermudian athlete to compete in the triple jump at the Olympics since the legendary Bermudian 4-time Olympian Brian Wellman competed in his last Olympics in the year of 2000. So
nice. I'm loving it. You see the smile on my face. I'm loving it.
Yeah, awesome.
Is he the only track person we have so far?
Yes. Yes, for athletics, triple jump. Yeah, I think that's it. This should be now it. Everyone's supposed to be confirmed by the end of June. July was a late one kind of
Okay.
for July. I'm pretty sure this is confirmed final 8, but we will hear more about things being exactly confirmed very soon.
We're getting closer. We're getting closer,
Oh,
baby.
yeah, closer. Right? This is going to be an exciting one. As for the weather today, guys, it's hazy sunshine with a chance of 1 or 2 showers out there and a high of 81. So not as bad as it was the other day. That was super high, but you're still going to get a lot of humidity. So be wary of that. And if you're on a bike, always, always, always pack your rain gear, man, and drive safely on our roads.
All righty. What's the days of the year looking like, Larry?
All right. Well, as you know, it's American Independence Day, but today we're going with Thirsty Thursday. And, you know, a lot of times it's the unofficial start to the weekend. But folks, what are your favorite, let's keep it PG, non-alcoholic beverages that you like to indulge in?
My favorite non-alcoholic beverage. You know what? I'll keep it very plain. I don't drink soda, but I love a ginger beer every now and then. Like,
Okay, how about you, Maya?
plain.
That's easy. It's iced tea all the way.
I didn't take her for an iced tea person.
Water.
Water?
I love water.
Yeah. Suzanne Ingham says water too. What else, audience? What is your drink of choice, non-alcoholic? Iced tea. Okay. Sweetened or unsweetened, Maya?
Sweetened. But like growing up, that was just a staple drink in my household. Like, so it's like it's got core memories. Iced tea.
You could tell she didn't go. She ain't been down south. Oh my,
Yeah.
tea sweet. Oh, sweet tea, Maya.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they call it. Heineken Zero says Charles. Michelle White says homemade sun iced tea. Okay. All right. Well, folks, we've got a very special guest coming up. Maya, we'll see you soon. Have yourself a wonderful day. Audience, do not go anywhere. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 27 seconds with Akil Augustine. I love this conversation because combining two of my favorite things, sports and broadcasting. So looking forward to the conversation. Maya, have a wonderful day. Go easy on that iced tea.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paula's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show, Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. We got some other drinks as well. Favorite non-alcoholic one is Thirsty Thursday. We had Richard Scott. He said Southern Made Sweet PT. Yeah. You could tell he's a guy that lived in the South. Manuela John says root beer with lemon. Renee Simmons says I make lemonade with ginger and lemonade with almond extract. Interesting. All right. Well, without further ado, let's bring our guest in for the day. We've got Akil Augustine coming on. We're talking about his journey, man. It's a pretty cool one. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Oop, that's not the one. Sorry. Hey, look, that's how we greet people in Bermuda. It really is.
It works.
First off, thank you for doing this so early because you're on East Coast time, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, thank you for doing this, Akil, man. Having just looked a bit about your journey, and you'll talk to people about that. We appreciate you. But truth be told, Bermudians do. In most places, I've lived in New York, when they honk their horn, they're honking to let you know they're about to run you over. In Bermuda, we honk to speak and say, hey, how you doing? So that was our way of greeting you just now. No offense.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Before we get into the conversation, we did ask a question. Larry said it's Thirsty Thursday. What's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
I'm going to go with my mom's sorrel.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. This brother's got some island in him then, right?
Yep.
Got some island in him then. So let's start there. Give us a bit about yourself, your background, what it is that you do.
Oh, well, I currently reside in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, but I'm Trini to the bone, born, bred Port of Spain, John, Trinidad and Tobago. My family moved to Brooklyn, New York when I was around 5 or so. And then eventually I made my way down to Toronto, and I love it here, and I'm stuck. I can't leave. Toronto's home. I've built a family and a life here. I work with the Toronto Raptors of the National Basketball Association, 2019 NBA champions. I've been very fortunate to work with a large company called Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. So we get to work on brands like the Raptors, the Maple Leafs, Toronto FC, our MLS football club, the Canadian Football League team called the Toronto Argonauts. And so I do podcasting. I do sideline reporting on NBA TV Canada, as well as I create social media content and produce television shows for our networks and do some social media influencing. And I'm fortunate enough to do some community outreach. So it's a good setup over here in Toronto for a kid from Trinidad.
The brother does it all, folks. I love it. I love your journey. I missed the Brooklyn part. So nice to hear that. You just said a lot. And I often speak to people about journeys into broadcasting. How did you get started in broadcasting? Like where did this all come together for you?
Well, how I got started was I had a cousin who was a pretty big deal in the neighborhood we grew up in, and he threw a basketball tournament every year. And so this is back in, the late 90s, early 2000s during the AN1 street ball rise, if you're familiar. And they needed someone on the mic. And I was a kid, but I had a lot of energy and I was very outgoing. So I would get on the mic in my cousin's basketball tournaments and kind of built a reputation around the city for doing that, and started doing it for a couple of other events. And then when I finished high school, I figured I'd get into broadcasting. Luckily enough, I think a part of my story I didn't disclose in the beginning was when I came to Canada as an undocumented person. So at the time, they called us illegal aliens. So I was undocumented for 20 years. So I didn't get my papers in Canada until I was 25. So I had a bit of a different path coming up, but luckily I somehow found my way to community college here in Canada. And right out of community college, I kind of met up with a guy named Cabby Richards, who's a really huge television personality here in Canada. And he kind of took me under his wing and gave me some mentorship and some internships. And so I used his connections in the industry to kind of build a brand for myself. And as luck would have it, I stumbled into an opportunity with the Toronto Raptors, built off of my reputation in the city with the game of basketball and the connections I had with Cabby. And I've kind of built out a career and a platform using, those two big assets that were in my corner.
Love that, man.
Perfect, perfect. Early on, you spoke about some major sports teams in North America. But what's the best part about covering sports for you?
Standing courtside, hands down. Every home game for the Toronto Raptors, I'm there. I'm standing courtside because I have the NBA TV mic flag and microphone in my hand. I'm given access that the average person would never get. So I'm there, walking in and out of timeouts and huddles, and in the back halls, walking past. I can say names like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, the biggest names in the game. And just, this past season, standing courtside when Andrew Wiggins came home, when Anthony Edwards came with the Timberwolves, and Steph Curry was with the Warriors, and just being that close to greatness, because I'm a huge basketball fan. So for me to go to work every other day and say that I'm going to go watch the best in the world courtside and report on it, it's a trip.
So throughout your journey, this has led you to where you're able to cover the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And it's upcoming. So what are you looking forward to covering the most in the Olympics?
Ooh, I'm looking forward to it being over, honestly. I anticipate this being the hardest 16 days of my life, because we're producing a daily program, 12 to 15 minutes in length. It's a brand new show that we thought up a couple months ago. It's called FOMO, Fear of Missing the Olympics. It's a talk show and an entertainment style show, brand new crew. Everyone's working together for the first time. So we're now scrambling to really build out the identity and the tone of the show and see how we're going to attack topics. And so all of that, falls on me as the producer. And I think it's the first time I've been in the lead chair of a program of this nature and stature. So I'm just looking, 2 inches in front of my face at the next task. Today, I'm building out a celebrity Olympic athlete tournament. And then, I'm just like, if I think big picture, I'm thinking I can't wait till this is over so I can look back upon it and be like, that was amazing that I worked the Olympics. But right now, my focus is so granular that it could be intimidating if I were to look at the whole scope of what we are trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Akil, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible.
Yeah, I definitely will be looking out for it, because we in Bermuda, we do get the Canadian feed for the Olympics, and we kind of go back and forth between the U.S., Canadian, and the Caribbean feed. So we'll definitely be looking out for it.
Yeah, it's good to know. Make sure to make a shout out for you guys.
Yeah, okay, we'll be there. But such an awesome story overall and anything. But what advice would you give others looking to follow a similar path to yours?
I'm careful with advice only because the nature of the industry that I came up in is extremely different from the state of the game as it currently stands. So for me, again, being in Toronto, we hadn't seen basketball as a viable economic product up until that point. It's a hockey town. And so I think the Raptors were really the first experiment into bringing in another major sport. And so the economy around it wasn't built. So I was fortunate enough that when the Raptors arrived, I was exiting elementary school and heading into high school. So I was one of the first generations of kids who grew up in the city with the Raptors around. So I had the opportunity to get in on the ground floor of an industry that was growing and blossoming. And it was also pre-social media, which meant, your ability to get your voice out was limited to these major networks. So you couldn't just be talent out there, sharing your thoughts on a YouTube network or on TikTok. It just, those opportunities weren't there. So it was, there were a lot more bottlenecks. There's a lot smaller of an industry, and there were a lot more controls. So I had to use my people skills and mentorship and relationships so much more than I think someone has to today, because today you can set up your own YouTube channel. You can set up your own TikTok account, and if you are willing to do something extreme or recognize patterns in the algorithm, garner a pretty fair audience for yourself. So the advice I would give might be outdated for my own path, but what I try to say to young people is to take advantage of the nature of the industry as it stands right now, which is all the things I mentioned in the latter, not the former, which was, starting your own TikTok account, creating a YouTube channel. It's so much easier to put out your own voice. You guys are an example of a new class of media that didn't exist 15 years ago or even 10 years ago, right? There's now a diversity of thought and opinion online, and different voices can get heard, and you can monetize it. So there's this whole wild west of content. And so I think I would always advise young people to investigate that route right now, because the types of jobs you're going to get going to work for a major broadcaster as they cut budgets, right, as shareholders and, the money men short stock, right, and they try to eat away at the resources of the companies, take away workers' rights, and any benefits you would have, is I would say just try to be an owner of your content and to create content as much as possible and to refine your voice. I think that's the other side of it. It's easy to pick up a camera and do something, but really refine your voice, because I think that's the thing that's going to resonate with a group of people. And that's how a lot of content creators are becoming popular, is because they speak to something very specific that people enjoy.
Yeah, I think this has been an incredible, short but incredible conversation, because there's so many things. Number one, I too don't like to give advice, because each person's journey is their own, but also times have changed. But you kind of just gave some of the best advice that one can give in saying that, because it's almost like back in the day, in New York, you'd go to New York and everybody was on the side trying to give you their demo, right? Today, no, just create your own music and distribute it yourself via the internet, right? Again, you've got YouTube at your fingertips. If you can't find a job, I say it all the time on the show, go create an opportunity for yourself. You don't need the most expensive camera. Sometimes you just need a phone. So I love that. But the incredible story, and I'm glad you went back to actually add something, undocumented, came at 5. You found a way to succeed in something that aligns your interests, sports and broadcasting. As Richard Scott says here, preparation, meeting opportunity. This gentleman's story is extremely encouraging. And he says, excellent advice. Everyone's journey is unique. And Richard Scott is the president of Somerset Cricket Club, which is unfortunately the reigning cup match champions in Bermuda. And I'm sure you know a thing about cricket, being from Trinidad now.
But, and I know about cup match thanks to the homie Maya, so I found out a lot about that.
Well, I'll tell you this much: if you come to Bermuda, we'll have you dressed in blue only for cup match. All right, blue only. All right, so we've got you. Don't worry.
Team blue.
Yeah, in blue. Mark Arthur C. Phillips has a question for you. Akil, how many Canadians play for the Raptors? Interesting.
So historically, we've had a couple. Last season, the only Canadian that started the year with the team was Chris Boucher, but mid-season we made a trade and we got RJ Barrett from the New York Knicks. A natural born bred Canadian. His dad runs the Canadian senior men's national team. So I do believe as of right now, we have Chris and RJ under contract as Canadians, but historically we've had Corey Joseph play, who's a kid who grew up in Pickering, Ontario, just not too far from here. I'm friends with his dad. We've had my good friend Jamal McGlure, another Trinidadian. Shout out to Big Jam. He's played for the Toronto Raptors, so we've had a handful of Canadians play for the Raptors.
Well, let's talk about it, because let's be honest. Canada won the last championship, I think.
We got the silver, and the U.S. got the bronze.
Yeah, the U.S. got bronze. That's it. No,
we beat the States. Thank God.
You beat the U.S. Now, let's talk about it. You've over the last decade, you've got dude plays for Denver, Jamal Murray. You've got Wiggins, who's in my opinion a number 1 draft pick, still has a lot of potential. Around a lot of star power in Golden State. You've got Dylan Brooks, right? RJ
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, runner-up for the MVP.
Should have been MVP, and he plays for Oklahoma Thunder. My point is, and audience, I know some of you are like, who are these people? Because you're maybe not all basketball. But in saying that, Canada is actually a basketball nation right now. Speak about that over your time over the last 6-7 years, how you've seen basketball evolve. Because like you said, it was a hockey town. And as a former, employee of the Florida Panthers who just won the NHL Stanley Cup, Florida, when I started there, they were giving tickets away at gas stations for free because we have more Maple Leafs fans at our home games for the Panthers than we do Panthers fans. So it's almost like things are flipped on the head. But speak to the growth you've seen in basketball in Canada over the last decade or so.
So when I came to Canada, we had a large influx of West Indian and European immigrants. And I think that impacted the ability for specifically Toronto, the city, to play the game of basketball. Because I think when you look at a lot of these players that are on the national team, that are on the national scene, they play basketball in Toronto. They're from Toronto. This is my city, is where I'm from, and I've seen it firsthand how the game changed. And so for a lot of us, like, we bring a different athletic profile, a different gene pool. And so you saw a lot of lanky Jamaicans, you saw a lot of sharpshooting Europeans, you saw Trinidadian athletes, like you saw different types of athletes that weren't in the Canadian athletic pool before. And what happened was, a bunch of guys that I grew up with, whether it be Denver Brown, Vadam Messiah, these local legends, these guys who were excellent basketball players and all pretty much either West Indian or African descent, they got scholarships to the United States and they started to play for collegiate coaches in the late 90s, early 2000s. And what happens was, when those guys came back after not being able to make it to the NBA, they started AAU basketball programs and a lot of grassroots basketball programs. Because the thing that Canada was missing, not being a part of the American basketball system, was the coaching. And so when those young men came back into their communities, into the priority neighborhoods, into the quote unquote ghettos and hoods of the city where the immigrant populations are largest, they started to bring back these clinics and these camps and these skills and started to create these traveling teams. And these teams took these kids from these different backgrounds to the United States. And then we found out that, the Black Americans, especially the Southern Black Americans, are superior athletes oftentimes because of the gene pool that they come from. And what happened is, here we have a similar experience where we're pulling from a lot of different places genetically. And so you've got a whole new, like, you look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and his cadence and his body movement and herky-jerky nature and his skinny frame. That's not endemic of Canadians, right? That's something that comes from his original story of where his parents come from. And so I think what happened is, once the coaching, which is the guys coming back from the 2000s, met up with the talent level, which is the immigration, Toronto specifically blew up and has created a whole new style of athlete, and they've got their own philosophy towards basketball. And that's what's led to so many Canadians dominating at the NCAA level, at the NBA level, at the AAU level, and hopefully now next at the international level.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of France's national team, right? Like, immigration has helped, like in football and just different sports. There's some great things that happen from immigration in the United States of America. Happy birthday again. But in saying that, I think Charles H. Jefferson II makes a great point here. He says the Olympics basketball is going to be competitive, not a cakewalk for the USA. But in saying what you just said, there's some lessons in this for Bermudians, right? A lot of Bermudians, the main sport, football, right? If you don't make it, come back and give back. And I think that's the story of the rise in Canadian basketball players. Those who didn't make it came back and gave back. And now that next generation is benefiting from those players who got that experience, Larry.
And to follow up on relating it to Bermuda, I think the administrations have to be welcoming. I think a lot of us who did go out, and now we are back as former athletes that have been in the NCAA system, you start to speak of your experience, and it's stuck in, well, we've always done it this way. And I'm saying, no, I'm seeing it done differently. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that was something that we thought too, but unfortunately it never worked that way, and that the governing bodies never signed on. There's a history here where the best Canadian basketball players have never played for the Canadian senior men's basketball team. If you think about it, Jamal McGlure, the best Canadian basketball player outside of Steve Nash at the time period in the early 2000s, never suited up for the Canadian senior men's national team. A lot of the best players from Canada, who were all from Toronto, never suited up for Canadian senior men's national team, because there's a belief that there was racism and there was institutional racism within the organization. So what happened was, the guys that came back, they built these AAU programs and these high school and prep programs. And then when all the best players, right, you think about the fact that Andrew Wiggins hasn't competed for Canada internationally. You think about the fact that once all the best players who were more closer aligned to the AAU programs and their coaches said they weren't going to play for Team Canada, then Team Canada changed what the back offices looked like. And that's when RJ Barrett's dad, Rowan Barrett, became the director of Canada basketball, and Steve Nash became the director, when the players refused to allow for the leadership and the organizations to keep employing the same people and hiring the same people and running the same programs. So all the power went to the players once they became NBA superstars, and that changed the C-suite for Canada basketball.
Interesting. And you see, I mean, even looking at the Canadian football team, they just made it to the next round in the Copa. Again, immigration. You look at the players of that team. Immigration has been helped greatly in that. But I think your story is amazing. I think broadcasting and immigration, it's one that should inspire people on their own. But I have a question from Maya Palacio. She's asking, what coverage should news outlets of their country be looking to do of the Olympics for their athletes?
I think there needs to be more coverage of the economic side of the Olympics. I think that's one thing that I'm going to focus on, hopefully, with my series is we think about the fact that we put so much pride and so much pressure on these athletes at this point in time every 4 years to represent us and our country and put us in good standing and help our tourism and whatever else that the Olympics does to boost the platform of a nation when they win a gold, silver, or bronze. But we forget about these athletes for the other 3.5 years, and I don't think there's a great understanding of the economic model that athletes are put under, how sponsorship works, how government funding works, and so you hear so many sad stories about athletes who are completely underfunded until 2 weeks before the Olympics, when all the brands just want to throw their logos on because they realize that he's going to be, on the TV screen for 4 straight minutes of prime time media coverage. Those are ad dollars that you can't buy, right? So I think it's important to investigate and follow those stories and see how we're treating those athletes when the camera isn't on them, so that we can make sure that when the camera is, that they can all show up in the best way possible. I think a lot of athletes are struggling outside of competition periods like this, and so we need to use those stories to bolster the support for international competing athletes from our nations.
You just spoke Lara's language.
Well, it doesn't happen without the money.
Yeah, I think storytelling can play a huge role in that. Someone's got to do a documentary on these athletes. Someone's got to do a short feature because when you're that's the role of storytelling. I think that's why I got into storytelling, and that's why I chose to be a journalist and a broadcaster, is because we kind of get to dictate what people are going to pay attention to, and if we do a good job and we make it compelling and interesting, then we can push people towards a GoFundMe or toward a protest or towards signing a petition, right? So it's an opportunity for broadcasters and for storytellers to find those athletes now, that they're going to be at the Olympics. And then the next 4 years, you've got an opportunity to produce a documentary or a short story or a book or whatever, and create some content around it to help, build out a future for this athlete and the one that comes after him.
Yeah. I want to go back because I think, when I look at Toronto as a city and a sports city, obviously adding Toronto FC over the last couple decades, many people probably don't even know the Raptors only came around in the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, 96.
Yeah, and so before that, you had the Blue Jays and Maple Leafs as the major teams, but that's how you grow a city. That's how you create opportunities for people, and you support those local teams. But I know Bermuda had an opportunity some years ago with a USL team, Bermuda Hogs, but we just didn't get the support, so the team didn't last as long. But I think what Toronto has done as far as a sporting city, they've turned a hockey town into a sports town.
Yeah.
And they've delivered championships. The early 90s, the Blue Jays won back-to-back titles. You've got the Maple Leafs still searching for a while, but they still have one of the greatest followings of any team.
Oh, yeah, they print money. They just can't win the Stanley Cup, but they
just can't get the big one. But Akil, how can people continue to follow your journey, keep up to date with all that you have going on? When you start to release some of those documentaries, make sure they support it. Let them know how they can stay in touch and learn more.
All right, well, you can find me at Akil Augustine on Instagram and on Twitter. I am Akil Augustine on TikTok, and the website will be relaunched this spring. As well as if you've got NBA League Pass and you're following your favorite teams, just tune in and you'll find me on the Raptors broadcasting from the sidelines. And if you're in Toronto, holla, I'm here, I'm around.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. It's been a great conversation. Look forward to chatting to you soon. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Akil Augustine, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Please do not go anywhere. We're coming back with a daily play. I love this story, Larry. I know you were very vested in it because it's a sports thing, but that was a good conversation. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after this message. 1 minute, 47 seconds. Stick with us.
Bermuda's favorite trivia game is now a game show.
What's up, Bermuda? My name is Patrina O'Connor-Painter, aka Power Girl Trina, and I'd like to welcome you to Bermuda Trivia. You ready? We're gonna be talking about we're gonna be talking about people and places. I'm serious.
Now, have you heard about Bermuda Trivia before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think you'd be able to answer some of these questions?
Just wait and see.
Go to www.bermudatrivia.com. Get more information about it. Get the game. Play it with your family. Educate yourselves. Really?
If I get this wrong,
how much do you know?
Bermuda Trivia, the game show, brought to you by Bacardi. Premieres on Monday, July 8th, only on bcgtv.com. Subscribe today.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Here with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Akil Augustine for joining us, stopping by. Incredible story. My two favorite things, sports and broadcasting. Folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Larry, it's a name that place. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. This is an easy one.
That's that all the time, audience.
Who did Texas win its independence from in 1836? See, told you it's an easy one.
Yeah.
He didn't even give you all a chance. Some guy he is. He did not give you all a chance. Did not give you a chance. Well, Rosalind Famous got it too. Yeah, she got it too. All right, so no one gets today. Larry got it. Let's wrap it up though. Real quickly. I mean, final thoughts. Obviously, the visitors area at Cop Match, and then the conversation with Akil.
Yeah, awesome conversations. I think through the first conversation with the visitors spot, I think we came to, and it was kind of confirmed that they're working on a solution for it to go forward. You know, we recognize the importance of having something for the visitors. Again, the BTA doesn't have to be the person for it. And I think I was like, okay, done moving on, but I would still like to see something for the visitors. And, you know, Akil Augustine, you know, sometimes we do a great job on the TDH when we have international guests and how it relates to Bermuda. And his story is so relatable for us and the things we can take away from it. I saw some parallels between you and him, right? You know, working in sports journalism and or for a sports team and stuff like that. So, you know, congrats to him and thankful for him for sharing his story to better help motivate us all. You know, there's a few things that I took from there that I said, you know what, I need to work on that. So I'm grateful for that conversation.
Yeah, no, I as far as Cop Match, I think we're all in agreement. We need a visitors area. Thankfully, President Scott was tuned in today, and we'll likely have a visitors area at Cop Match. We just need our BTA to ensure that they're getting people to Bermuda so that they can come to the visitors tent. as far as Akil, I love his journey. Appreciate his journey. Thank you to Maya, who's developed that relationship, and we were able to have him on. I'm looking forward to watching him. Obviously, the internet giving us access and learning from him as well. You know, to me, there's opportunities to learn from one another as we watch his journey. But it's incredible to see people who come from similar places as us succeeding in spaces that we're also in. So love to see it. And I just hope that anyone who's tuned in that knows someone, it doesn't have to be broadcasting or sports, but if you know someone, you know, who wants to do something, maybe they want to be an actress or an actor and they live in Bermuda, don't discourage them. There's opportunities. You know, he was brave and courageous enough to share. He was undocumented in Canada for 20 years. Sometimes, I'm not encouraging breaking laws, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get to where you want to get, as long as nobody gets hurt in the process.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, no one got hurt. And it's a great, not ending to the story, but continuation of his story. So again, congratulations to Akil Augustine. Larry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Yes, I do. And it comes from multi Wimbledon champion Venus Williams. Just believe in yourself. Even if you don't, pretend that you do. And at some point, you will.
I love that. Love that one. All right, folks. Well, again, happy Independence Day to those who celebrate it. Go enjoy some fireworks and, eat some good food off the grill if that's what you do. And don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.